peace I leave you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. It's a passage from John chapter 14, verse 27. There is a kind of peace the world offers. It's conditional. It's temporary. It depends on external stability. Money in the account, good health, secure borders, and predictable outcomes. But that peace is like a paper house in a storm. It folds the moment the wind blows and rises higher. What Christ offered in John 14 was something the world cannot give. It's a peace that defies logic, a peace that holds steady in chaos, a peace that doesn't need circumstances to cooperate in order to remain still. And that right there is a revolutionary concept, because we are raised in a world that teaches us peace is a reward for control. That we will finally be okay when we get there. When the job is stable. When the debt is paid off. When the body is healed. When the past is resolved. But Christ doesn't speak to the external, he speaks to the heart. Let not your heart be troubled, he said. That is a command. It is not for comfort, it's not a suggestion, it's not just some soft word for sentiment purposes. It's a command. Let not. So in other words, don't allow it. Which also means you have agency over your inner world. You may not control the economy. You may not control what others do, but you can control what you allow to dominate your heart. What dominates your heart? This is both sobering, but also very freeing. And the Stoics echoed this truth in their own language. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's not just philosophy. That's real life, because most people are enslaved, not by chains, but by fear, by anxiety, by what ifs, by imaginary futures and unresolved past, by the storm between the ears. And so John 14:27 is not just theology. It is strategy. It is a battle armor for the soul. Because when Jesus said, "My peace I give you," he meant it. This wasn't a warm wish. It was a spiritual endowment, a gift forged in the fire of Gethsemane. A peace that came from knowing the outcome even while walking through agony. And so with this, we really should pause for a moment and think about the context of this verse. He didn't say this after the resurrection, when all was well. He said this before the cross. He said it knowing betrayal was coming, knowing suffering was near, knowing everything around him would look like failure. And yet he spoke peace. Because peace isn't found on the other side of the storm. It is found in the storm. When you're anchored to something deeper than the wind. There's a story I'll never forget. A man I once met had been through the ringer. He lost his wife to cancer, his job in a market crash, and his son to addiction, all within 2 years. Most people would have folded, given up, spiraled out of control. But he didn't. And one day I asked him, "How are you not bitter?" And he looked me in the eye, smiled gently, and said, "Because bitterness is heavy, and I need to stay light to keep moving." That kind of peace does not come from books. It comes from roots, from knowing you are not your loss. You are not your fear. You are not your circumstances. You are something deeper, a soul created by God, held by God, redeemed by God. And when that truth sits at the center of your being, no storm can drown you. Now let's get practical for a moment. If peace is a gift, why do so few live in it? Because a gift must be received, and peace must be practiced. It's not a one-time download. It's a daily discipline. You don't get peace by scrolling and scrolling. Peace does not come like that. You don't get peace by escaping. You get it by going into the tension and choosing calm anyway. And here's what that can look like. Start your day in stillness. Before the text, the news, the noise. Just take 5 minutes. 5. Breathe. Pray. Read the Bible. Read John chapter 14, verse 27 aloud. And tell your soul, we will not be troubled today. The second thing is, guard your input. Peace is suffocating by constant fear-mongering. If your media diet is all rage and panic, you are drinking poison and asking why your stomach hurts. The third is you need to speak truth when your heart starts racing. Literally, out loud. Say, I have been given peace. I do not have to be afraid. The storm is not stronger than my God. That's not denial. That's called discipline. Because fear is loud, but peace is louder when practiced. And if you're wondering if any of this is possible for you, yes. Absolutely yes. You don't need to be a monk. You don't need to move to the mountains. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need to choose it. Over and over, day by day, sometimes minute by minute. And here's the promise. It gets easier. What starts as effort becomes instinct. What begins as a whisper becomes your default. Now imagine living that way. Imagine showing up to your life with that kind of clarity and calm. Not overreactive, not overwhelmed, not in a state of chaos, but steady, grounded, rooted, peaceful. You become a shelter for others. You become someone who doesn't just survive the chaos, but anchors others through it. That is power. That's called influence. That is the fire iron mindset. And if this resonated with you today, if you found something in this that stirred you, share it, subscribe, hit the notification bell. But more importantly, live it. Be the person who walks into a room and calms it. Be the one who reminds others it's not over. Be the one who carries peace, not as a personality, but as a spiritual inheritance. Because in a world addicted to noise, you are called to be quiet. In a culture addicted to fear, you are called to be the calm. You don't need perfect conditions. You need perfect peace. And it's already been offered. So take it, hold it, and guard it. That is true strength. That is the fire iron mindset. That is the legacy of John chapter 14, verse 27.